Alrighty, a very, very happy Tuesday, and welcome to the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. My name is Justin. Today is March 10th of 2026, and we got a lot to get down, talking right into things. On today's episode, we will talk about, hold on one second, we're just going to get our everything set up. Thought I have everything set up, right? Today we will be talking about the Bearcats entering a Big 12 tournament. That is today. We'll get you prepped up to that. We'll also talk about the Cincinnati Reds as we inch closer to spring training and everything that's going on. Today's coverage, we will talk about and give you a preview of what the Boston Red Sox and Miami Marlins look like and where we predict they are going to stand in the American and National League East Division. We'll recap RAW for you and much more. I want to kick things off here on this program and talk about some of the free agency actions that we are seeing early on this offseason. Now, nothing's officially final. Okay, I want to make sure that that is clear. Nothing is officially final until 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, March 11th, Wednesday at 4 p.m. That is when things are officially final for free agency signings. But if everything goes into place, the Bengals look to start off this new season by signing free agents Brian Cook and Boy Mafe. Now, Brian Cook is a former safety from the Kansas City Chiefs. He really got himself started back in 2024, earning a starting position for the organization. That carried into last season, and the Bengals look to capitalize and bring that over as he is signed to a 3-year, $40 million contract. This first year, he'll make about $20 million. And on top of that, this is to look to replace Geno Smith, who also hit free agency this offseason. And according to the Next Gen Stat, this was a tweet posted by Ben Baby, Brian Cook ranked 4th in the lowest missed tackles rate among safeties last season. Pretty interesting. Well, to add on to all of that conversation, okay, we also look at the signing of Boy Mafe. He was a defensive lineman for a pass rusher for the Seattle Seahawks, who won the Super Bowl last year. He's coming in to a 3-year, $60 million. Cincinnati was initially looking at a pass rusher to help in this form of Franklin Myers, but their other sights on Mafe after JFM talks didn't work out. Like Cook, Mafe brings championship standards to the defense and has explosive athletic profile. Mafe was drafted as a defensive end back in 2022. He scored a 991 as a relative athletic score out of a possible 10. He's ranked 14 out of 1,428 defensive ends from 1987 to 2022. Look, all right, and I just want to go out here and say this, right? These are steps that we need. Because let's not forget, we're not just trying to replace Trey Hendrickson. We're trying to replace Joseph Osai. We're trying to add to a defense that did not perform well last year and was, I'm going to be honest, a leading cause on why we did not win ball games. Bengals are banking on the breakout from Boy Mafe, just like they did on Trey Hendrickson. When Hendrickson came on board in Cincinnati, he owned a career 10% win rate, 113 pursues, and 21 tackles. Mafe is on 11%, 161, and 20 pursues and 20 tackles. So we are taking these steps. The interesting thing I took out of this, I was looking at this article this morning, and I was reading this. I was trying to finalize what we're doing, what we're not doing. And I was just telling myself, this Maffei was not necessarily a starter. Matter of fact, he only started 4 games last season. So we're looking at him on a perspective of, hey, you've been on a championship team. You're improving. I think the goal is to name you that starter. I want you to play every game. And it's your chance to run away, right? Be that player who you are. Cook has expertise. He was with the Chiefs in 2024 when they won, or when they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. This is another thing, but the experience is there. And, I said here on our show yesterday, do me a favor, Bengals, free agency. According to Jeremy Fowler from ESPN, he is predicting that the Bengals are going to be the most aggressive this free agency. And I said yesterday on my show, here's my jaw, drop it. And I'm going to stand by it. Day one looks impressive. Day one, the Bengals are tackling on things that they need. Day one, they are fixing solutions, at least bettering themselves. And here's what I like about the NFL free agency market compared to the Major League Baseball free agency market. In Major League Baseball, you have from November, when the season ends, all the way up to the beginning. Actually, there's no timeline for the free agency market in baseball. You don't have a draft that comes during the wintertime, and it probably should be, to be honest, but it doesn't come during the time where you're limited. The NFL draft is coming up here in a month or two, and the NFL teams need to know where they lie as a team, as a whole, heading into the draft. And if there's any players that they don't get now, it's either now or they don't get it. Because if they don't get these free agencies now, they're going into the draft looking at, well, where are their slots do we need filled in? And for the Bengals, you're eager to push because we need all the help we could get. Now, 2 players, a safety and a defensive end, a total of a little over $100 million over a 3-year span. Provides a little bit of protection. Guarantees, gives us a little bit more to sit on with the upcoming free draft picks that we have. Not too bad. Not too bad to get that revenue back. I mean, that's about $20 million, $30 million a year that we're spending for the next 3 years, $33 million over the next 3 years on 2 players. That's where it's a little iffy. But I'm not quite impressed just yet. I would say kudos to the Bengals for jumping ahead. I'd say kudos to this organization on trying to get ahead of themselves. But in order to drop my jaw, I need to see how they're going to react to everything else. Because we still need defensive players. We still need a backup quarterback. And we still need to put all this together. We could surely use extra space as an offensive line and so on and so forth. So 2 players, great. A safety, defensive end. I'd still go out there and try to find another defensive end, pass rusher. I'd go out there and find a cornerback. I'd go out there and find a middle linebacker. I'd go out there and, I wouldn't worry about a backup quarterback, but I would go out there and start looking at backup quarterbacks. So, to me, if you want to drop my jaw, let's see what the Bengals do next, other than what we see already. All right, I want to give you an update around the league and let you guys know what's is going on out there. We'll go team by team here. Where did I had it here? So I had the NFL tracker here. You guys can check this out on cbssports.com. Starting things off, up in out there in Arizona. Arizona has signed not really anyone's Gardner Minshew to a quarterback, 1 year, 5.75, up to $8.5 million in the Harris contract deal. They retained L.J. Collier, Blake Gillikin, and Chad Rayland. Atlanta Falcons ended up doing a lot of stuff here. They end up signing Tua Tagovailoa to a 1 year, $1.5 million deal. Austin Cooper as well. Baltimore Ravens still on the Max Crosby deal. That was a trade, a sign of John Simpson. Bills traded for DJ Moore. They also signed Kyle Allen and D. Alford. The Panthers signed Kenny Pickett to a 1 year deal. The Bears signed Kobe Bryant, Neville Gillimore. The Bengals, those are the only two, and they re-signed Dalton Winsler. The Browns, they signed Zion Johnson and Quincy Williams, a linebacker and an offensive guard. They retained Ronnie Hickman. The Cowboys signed Jalen Thompson on a deal. Just kind of going through the list, anyone that pops up. They retained Daniel Jones, transitional tag on a 1 year, $37 million contract for the Colts. The Chiefs signed Kenneth Walker from the Seahawks to a 3 year, $45 million deal. They also signed Aloy Gilman as a safety for 3 years, and Kyrus Tonga, is that his name? I think defensive tackle. They retained Travis Kelce on a 1 year, $12 million deal, as well as Tyquan Thornton. The Raiders traded, and they received Tyron Johnson. The Chargers signed Cole Strange, Alec Ingold, Charlie Collier, and Tyler Valdez. The Rams signed Jalen Watson and Joey Cordona. The Miami Dolphins signed Malik Willis to a 3 year, $65 million contract. The Patriots signed DeAndre Jones and Jesse Luketa. And I'm just, like I said, Noah Fant is going to the New Orleans Saints. Jordan Stout with the Giants. Greg Newsome II with the Giants. Isaiah Likely with the Giants. The Jets signed Joseph Osai, Demario Davis, David Unimeta, Kingsley Inagbare. Apologize if I butcher these names. Oh my goodness. The Steelers traded for Michael Pittman Jr. on a 3 year, $59 million deal. They also signed Rico Dodal and Jamel Jean. 49ers signed wide receivers Mike Evans and Verdion Lowe. Buccaneers signed Alex Anzalone and Kenneth Gainwell. The Titans, very active. They signed Mitchell Trubisky, Josh Williams, Cordell Volson, former Bengals right there, Daniel Bellinger, Cordell Float, John Franklin Myers, which was a target for the Bengals here in the signings, didn't get him. Odafe Owen ends up signing with the Commanders on a 4 year, $100 million contract deal. And that's pretty much it. You can check out all that, all the updates in the tracker on cbssports.com. And I like I said, I say this just because I think that, we're adding players, and I think that's great. There's obviously a lot of moves out there that is being done, even is being made. And so for me, It's about what's next. And we made our first moves. I think that's great, incredible. What is next is really what's going to stand out, because we got to determine that before April so we know what our draft pick holds. Alrighty. Well, one name that I didn't see out there is Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson is a free agency, former Bengals, 3-time All Pro Bowl edge rusher, looking for a new home. Bengals declined his franchise tag after they retained him in 2025. You remember he went down on an injury. Deniably one of the top pass rushers that's available in free agency. And so far, it's been there's been little word to where he might end up. The former third-round pick out of Florida Atlantic by the Saints in 2018 was a part-time player earlier in his career before having a breakout season with 14 sacks in 2020. He signed a massive contract with the Bengals in 2021, a total of 57 sacks over the next 4 seasons before injuries sapped his effectiveness in 2025. For his career, Hendrickson has 236 tackles, 81 sacks, 15 forced fumbles, and 16 pass defensives. And looking for a new home. According to Adam Schefter, as he discussed the landscape, what's already happened is what's still to come. And when host Mike Greenberg asked him about his market, this is what Schefter said. Well, here's the situation. He's been in contract with a number of teams right now. The issue, I think, is you see how Houston Texans go out and give Danielle Hunter a $40 million a year extension. You see yesterday the Panthers shocked the NFL by giving Jalen Phillips $30 million a year. Trey Hendrickson sees himself in the company of those kind of players. And so you think there would be a corresponding contract in that vicinity. But if there's not a team out there that's willing to give you 30, 40, $50 million a year, sometimes it takes a player a little bit of time to understand how the market works. And what to accept. Just because Daniel Hunter might get $40 million, you might not get $40 million. He goes on and says, just because Jalen Phillips gets 30 doesn't mean you get 30. And so right now he's talking a bunch of teams and nobody has met his price yet. And he's a very strong mind, powerful person. He wants to get his price, and until he feels like he does, he's not willing to compromise that. And so we're back at it again in this conversation. Now, I want to be frank with everyone on this, because I think that Trey Hendrickson is a really good player. And maybe if there wasn't a lot of commotion last preseason, if he wasn't injured, which does take his toll, I don't think a $30 million contract is unreasonable. I don't think a $25 million contract is unreasonable. He could have even stayed with the Bengals. But you have one good year followed by injuries that really do separate you from the rest. And what you see is teams are going to invest in the players they have now. They're going to invest in the players that are healthy, younger, and that also have potential. And not just potential. One of the questions I ask is, has Trey Hendrickson hit his max? Maybe he's still in his peak, but can he better himself based off of what he did back in 2024? And I say 2024 because in 2025, Trey Hendrickson ended up getting hurt throughout majority of the year. And that really, to me, if I was a GM looking for a defensive player, that is what my biggest concern is. You got hurt. How healthy are you? Where are you going to be at heading into this season or the next couple seasons? And is that worth the value of $30, $40 million? And when I'm asked that question, I say no. And it's not because he's not a good player. It's because I'm not going to pay somebody $40 million to be on the bench. If I'm going to pay someone $40 million, I want them out there like a Max Crosby. I want them out there every snap, every down, every play, and every drive in every game. I don't want him there in the fourth quarter. I don't need him there in the fourth quarter. I want him there all game long. I want him pressuring the quarterback all game long. Want him healthy all game long. And so for me, like I said, I wish that he, I do wish him the best. I hope that he finds a team that he can settle down with. I hope he could find a team that's willing to pay him at least something more comfortably than maybe not 30 million, but maybe 25 million or something like that. And you know, if he's going to be stubborn in that way, I feel like that also builds relationships and it destroys relationships. And I feel like a part of the way that he carried himself last preseason tarnished the relationship that I felt he had with the Bengals. Now, if he went out there, and I even supported him last year, I said, look, go out there and prove to the world that you are this great defensive end, this pass rusher, break new records, reach new limits. And if you can do that, then you have argued your case. It was a contract year. You were going to argue your case, and not after 6 games, you're out with an injury. And I think that's really, to me, what hurt him in the long run. So I don't know. We'll keep a tie out. I do want to see him on a good team, but I'm not going to be one. I agree with these owners and these GMs. I'm not going to be the one to jump out and force him to play. All right, let's dive in to what's going on today in Cincinnati sports. The UC baseball team will host Evansville today at 3 p.m. The weather's nice, a little cloudy, not raining, unlike tomorrow. But the Bearcats and the Purple Aces are set to take on each other at 3 p.m. at the UC Baseball Center. UC has won 6 in a row in 10 of its last 11 in game play. Cincinnati will be looking to stay hot today as they host Evansville. This game will be broadcast on ESPN Plus. The 13-4 start to the UC is the best since going 15-2 in its first 17 starts back in the 2000 season. Cincinnati has done it both at the plate and on the mound so far this year, leading the Big 12 in ERA with a 3.24, while ranking tied for third in batting average, a 3.05. UC and West Virginia are the only 2 Big 12 teams with batting averages above 300, a team error below 350. Of course, the Bearcats are still causing havoc on the base passes as well, leading the Big 12 in ranked 4th among Power 4 programs with 46 stolen bases this far. Individually, the story of last week has been the bat of Quentin Coates. A Big 12 Player of the Week has been on a tear as of late. We hit 7 home runs last week, homering at least 1 in all 5 games. Coates hit 511 for 22 and drove in 17 runs as well, slugging an eye-popping 1.545 to help his team lead to the road win against Western Kentucky in 4 home game wins against UC San Diego. While Coates grabbed the headlines last week, he wasn't the only Bearcats hitter to turn notable performance. Jackson Smith was outstanding last week as well, slashing .538 across 5 games while hitting out of the leadoff spot. Smith was 7 for 13 at the plate and accumulated 10 free bases, logging 7 walks and reaching on a hit by pitch 3 times. He was also 3 for 3 stealing bases, and flexed his muscles as well, hitting a grand slam on Friday's doubleheader against UC San Diego. Christian Mitchell also hit 4 home runs last week, none bigger than his 11th inning walk-off blast to end the UCSD series on Sunday. Also, Cal Sefek, who had his first 11 games of the year due to injury, made his return to the starting lineup and didn't miss a beat. He started 3 games in the past weekend and hit a team best of 615. We went 8 for 13 with 3 doubles. On the mound, Nathan Taylor tied for his career high with 11 strikeouts in the opener against UCSD. Logan Knight followed that up the next game with 5 innings, 1 run ball, striked out 8 batters. Fans will enjoy today's game with first discount Tuesday of the year, $2 hot dogs and $2 $7 tickets. Be sure to enjoy pregame happy hour, which features $5 domestic beers and first pitch at every game. About Evansville, the Aces bring in a 3-11 record overall heading into today's game, but has faced big-time opponents in number 18 Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Ole Miss. Most recently, Evansville was swept by the Rebels in Oxford this past weekend. Junior outfielder Reed Hare has hit 3 home runs, and most on the team. The Aces are coached by longtime skipper Wes Carroll, and who led the program NCAA Super Regional for the first trip in school's history. Cincinnati Bearcats begin a Big 12 play this coming up weekend that we'll take a look at later this week at BYU, with the series kicking off this Thursday and March 12th against the Bearcats. Will stay out west to play 2 games against Utah Valley next Monday and Tuesday as well. We can follow the Bearcats. All the latest updates and news, follow at Go Bearcats Base on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. That's what their Bearcats baseball going on. Well, the Cincinnati Bearcats open up the Big 12 tournament play as the number 9 seed against the number 16 seed Utah at 3 p.m. today at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. This game will be streamed on ESPN and broadcast on 700 WLW and the Tunnel app. The 2025-2026 campaign for the Bearcats, the 125th season of competition, the Bearcats men's basketball, and the Bearcats will commemorate a milestone of a year-long celebration honor the program's rich history, iconic players, and cultural legacy. Let's go into this. Cincinnati men's basketball was named the top 10 program of college baseball history by the Associated Press, boosted 44 All-Americans, 41 conference titles, 6 Final Four appearances, and back-to-back national championships across the history, which dates back to 1901 to 1902. Cincinnati allowing just 67 points per game defensively, ranked 12th nationally, and adjusted defensively efficiently per KenPom. Cincinnati also ranks 13th in the country of non-steal turnovers percentage and 7th in opponent 2-point distance. The Bearcats ranked 2nd in the Big 12 for 3-point attempts per game and 3rd in the 3-pointers made per game and 4th in the conference in scoring defense and assists per game, with 5th in 3-point percentage defense, field goal percentage defense rebounds per game, and turnovers forced per game. Despite the 2 games with injuries, senior forward Bubba Miller sees himself amongst the best nationally and in the Big 12. Miller is tied for the 25th nationally and 2nd in the Big 12 for double-doubles with 12, while sitting first in the conference with 4th nationally with 7.83 defensive rebounds per contest, and 14th in the country and 2nd in the conference with 10 total rebounds per game. He's ranked 8th in the nation in defensive rebounds percentage at 28%. Miller and sophomore Mustafa Thiam has been honored as part of the Big 12's postseason award and conference of office announced Monday. Miller was named to the All Big 12 second team, along with garnering Big 12 all newcomer teams laurels, while Thiam was selected for honorable mention in All Big 12. The Bearcats have won 5 of 7 all-time meetings against the UTs, including this last matchup back on February 15th, where they won 69-65 final score this season. It was held at the Fifth Third Arena. The Bearcats faced the largest deficit of the contest, trailing 65-60, with the 6-minute 65 remaining before closing the game with an impressive 9-0 run to defeat the UTs. Mustafa Thiam paced UC with the fifth double-double of his career, finishing with 15 points and 10 rebounds. Bubba Miller turned in another strong all-around performance with 13 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. Graduate guard Day Thomas added 15 points and 4 assists, while freshman guard Taishuan Tillery chipped in 10 points and 3 of 4 shooting with 3 assists. Led by first-year head coach Alex Jensen, UDs are 10-21 on the year, receiving number 16 seed in the Big 12 tournament after a 2-16 conference campaign. Junior guard Terrence Brown leads the UDs and ranked 4th in the Big 12 with 19 points per game. Fifth-year guard Don McHenry pours in 17 points per contest, while junior forward Keanu Dawes scores 12 points per game, along with the team high 8.7 boards per rebound. I think this is going to be a really fun game between these two contests. I like to see the Bearcats advance and move forward in the Big 12 play. That is your Cincinnati sports locally. You check everything out by visiting their university website. All right, before we move forward with our sports conversation for today, we'll get into Raw's recap from last night. I want to give a big shout out to Riverside FM. Riverside FM is the streaming home of the TNC Sports Talk. We are live on Facebook. Hi, everyone, and on YouTube. Thank you guys for joining in. Because of Riverside FM allows us to also stream live on Riverside.com. Riverside allows you to easily stream, create overlays and text and insert music and chat with your audience while you talk about your podcasting or scheduled needs. You could have it for podcasting, talk shows. You could also stream on here as well as business meetings. There are many options for Riverside's use. You could record or go live as well and interact with your audience. You could also take phone calls, believe it or not. Riverside also offers a lot more behind the scenes, as they allow you to edit your videos and clips, creating you shorts opportunities for other social media publications. Riverside also provides a magic clip source, providing you short videos and short clips formatted so you could post on social media. You can make adjustments to those clips, add overlays, whatever you please. Enhance your voice and the video image, upload other things and more. Check out their options by visiting riverside.com. This is not a promotional read. This is not an advertisement. I am not sponsored. But if Riverside would like to sponsor me, please feel free to contact me. If anyone also would like to be a sponsor of this show, please let me know. You can reach out to me on our Facebook page or any social media platforms in that case. But riverside.com for all your needs. All right. Monday Night Raw was last night at the Climax Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington, as we continue the road to WrestleMania. Advertised for last night was Oba's Feme's Warpath continues to the ruler meets as he redeemed and faced Rusev. Now, I'm going to just go on. I watched a brief of that match, and I was... it seems to me every week, it seems that Obafemi, just the way he goes down to the ring, the way he carries himself, and the way he just takes care of business when the match starts, I love it. There's just something about him that I love. I see him as the next face of the company. I see him as an upcoming champion probably by the end of this year. He's probably, to me, one of the fastest up and coming stars. And matter of fact, I think he's faster than Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker was left in NXT after I felt a couple of years ago he should have got brought up around the WrestleMania season. I want to say that was 2023 season. And they decided to keep him in NXT. Now, he had a good run at the NXT championship, but there's something about Obafemi. He comes up and his presence is there. It's like he knows what he has. And last night, when he taken on Rusev, someone that's a little bit more his size, someone that's a little bit more his dynamic, I think it really worked wonders for him, it really to show him his strength. Now, heading into WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar has that open challenge. I would love to see Obafemi face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. You talk about Brock Lesnar, he if he still has what it takes, if he's capable of doing, not doing things, but staying, relevant with this younger crowd. Obafemi could use a strong win over Brock Lesnar. So right now, my favorite heading into that is to see Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, but we will see on that. Um, the Intercontinental Champion was on the line as Penta, his first title defense against a Grande Americano. It was supposed to be against the original, but ended up being a Grande Americano. He had his first pin victory. Uh, and then we also saw the six women's number one contender match. It was a gauntlet match to face AJ Lee and her women's championship for next week. Um, all right. So let's just get down into business. We open up the show with the Vision. Now, Adam Pearce is been very involved, right, with the Vision here as late. Well, Seth Rollins opens up the show, and but because of Rollins had surgery less than 5 months ago, he's been driving by the escaping, and works out. Adam Pearce is saying that he's not medically clear. He says he doesn't know what's going on, but he needs to, put it into this and move on because he's not medically clear. Well, the Vision shows up. Logan Paul, and this is Austin Theory. Paul gets the mic and says that Seth, at the end of Seth is a matter of when, if not, not if, and when is now because because they're gonna beat the bricks off of the masked minions. Theory says there's a bullet with Seth's name on it, and doesn't matter how many mask idiots he has. There's not going to take him, so they're not going to take it from him. So consideration, the worst case scenario. Seth puts the mask back on, and his buddies flood the ring in a circle surrounding him. And before they melt into the crowd, LA Knight comes out to start beating on the Vision. And then the Usos come out to save LA Knight. They work together. Working Logan Paul over, but Austin saves him from D1. So we basically see we're still questioning if Logan Paul is ready or Seth Rollins is ready to compete, but they're using him in the meantime. Now, this is where I'm not too sure of what is planned on happening. You see a couple of different teams come together. You see, Seth Rollins is questionable. Is he ready to compete? Maybe, I don't think he would be out there doing anything unless he is at least 80-90% ready to compete. Okay, maybe he's not ready to take a bump, but I think he's ready to compete. I think he would be ready by WrestleMania. But then I ask myself, what is LA Knight doing? I know he needs a WrestleMania match. Does he go up against Logan Paul, Austin Theory? What's the deal with the Usos? Does the Usos I hear the rumors of supposed to be Jimmy and Jay heading into WrestleMania taking on each other. Who's the biggest brother in that sense? I could also see this tag team match form between Theory and Logan Paul taking on the Usos. So I really don't know. But I could tell you one thing that I am certain about is that this Vision since injuries, since the injury of Seth Rollins, since the injury of Braun Breaker, and since the recent injury of Bronson Reed, they've been going downhill, and it's been one of the most epic failures, not by storyline intentions by all means, but by injuries. It's been one of the most biggest failures of all time. Well, then we kicked things off with the gauntlet match where we see Bailey go on and um end up winning this. Now we saw Io Sky pin Raquel Rodriguez via pinfall. I thought that was interesting because you've been building up Raquel over the last few weeks, and then she has this pinfall against Io Sky. She doesn't really last all that long in this tournament because Io Sky eliminates Lyra Valkyria, then it eliminates Io Sky. You're really putting a lot on Io Sky before getting eliminated by Ivy Nile, and then Bailey ends up winning. Um, so she'll go on. She'll challenge AJ Lee for the Intercontinental Championship next week on Raw, and then Penta comes out thanking everybody um, for winning. Dan Hansen, Dan Dan Hansen, what jumps onto a Grande Americano on his way to the ring. He pitches that he could wear his mask and they could make a double the money, and he wants to try Americano's match on. Grande tells him it's bad to grab a luchador's mask, and he doesn't have time for this and wants Dan Hansen to vamonos. Dan Hansen doesn't know what that means, and so as Americano tells him to leave. Dan Hansen understands this and therefore curses El Grande Americano Original before disappearing. Penta makes his entrance, and then we see El Grande Americano Nuevo makes his entrance, ends up facing Penta. Penta ends up retaining his title. Then we see the Judgment Day, and something I've been waiting for quite some time is Dominic Mysterio confronts Finn Balor. Now, Finn Balor says, look, we've been looking out for you for the past couple years. We want you to succeed, but maybe even the greatest champs have to be able to do it on their own. And maybe Rey Mysterio was right. Dominic pushes Finn Balor. Finn Balor ends up attacking Dominic. JD ends up stopping Finn Balor and attacks Finn Balor, and they go on this spree, and it was carnage all around, leaving Finn Balor in the center of the ring, helpless. And man, I tell you, now Kofi Kingston's trying to recruit also Javon Evans. Obafemi beats Rusev by pinfall. And then we see Punk come out confronting the Usos, come out confronting CM Punk, and they get a little pushback. Both the Usos end up attacking Punk, leaving him in the center of the ring. And that's kind of how the show ends. But Raw was pretty good. Another build up for Raw. I feel like Raw has been on this kind of high horse of movement towards what's going on here, on the road to WrestleMania. The Usos had a couple of different visions to see throughout the night. I think when it comes down to Roman and CM Punk, we have to find ourselves to get a little bit more hyped up. We're done with the talking. We got to see the action. And what type of action are we going to see out of it? And, the Usos was a little taste of it. It's like, I understand we're friends, but this is at the end of the day still family. I want to talk later on this week about a couple of things that really kind of concerns me with how the storylines are going. We still have a lot of questions left to answer, and now we're starting to run out of time to tell those stories. So we'll have to get into that. All right, let's talk about today's episode, today's teams heading into the regular season. Yesterday we covered the Baltimore Orioles and the Atlanta Braves. Today we're going to talk about the Boston Red Sox. take a sneak peek at their preview as they're heading into spring training today, taking on the Detroit White Sox. They are 8-8 on the season. They got Sonny Gray out there on the mound in today's game. The Red Sox looking to get back to the postseason. They've added, they've departed some players this season that came from surprise, but they've also added a few players. And let's get into what they added here. The new arrivals is Sonny Gray. We're also seeing Johan Oviedo and Wilson Contreras at first base. We've seen the departure of Alex Bregman, Dustin May, Steven Matz to this lineup. And, you know, I I think, we talk about how competitive the AL East is, and you look at what they could have as a starting five rotation: Ranger Suarez, Sonny Gray, Johan Oviedo, Patrick Sandoval, and then Garrett Cochet. I think Garrett Cochet, if I'm not mistaken, is scheduled to make the opening day start for the Red Sox. You got the Roldis Chapman in the bullpen. You have Garrett Willock as well. Zach Kelly. Um, you have Carlos Narvaez as your catcher. Connor Wong as a backup. Wilson Contreras as your first baseman. Marcelo Mayer as second base. Caleb Durbin. Third base, Trevor Story at shortstop. Duran at left field. Sadanye Rafaela in center field, Willie Abreu in right, and Ramon Anthony as your possible designated hitter. Guys coming off the bench is going to be Masataki Yoshida, guys like Nate Ethan, Nick Sogard, Isaiah Kiner Falefa, so on and so forth. You look at the starting lineup for the roster schedule, excuse me, for the Red Sox, and they open up on the road against the Cincinnati Reds on a 3-game series before going out to Houston to face the Astros. They host the Padres to begin their homestands here in 2026. They don't really make their first West Coast trip until June, where they take on the Mariners and then the Rockies on the road at the end of the month. They'll go back out there to begin July. They'll spend 4th of July out in Los Angeles, take on the Angels before making their way back home to the East Coast before the All-Star break. They got to go back out there at the end of July against the Athletics and Dodgers. And that's pretty much it from my understanding. Yeah, that's the last road trip at the end of July. And, I predict that they're going to finish in third place. We also got a couple prospects to look out for: Peyton Tolley, Franklin Arias, and Kennelly Early as well. I have them finishing third place here this season. And according to Lindsay Sports magazines, they predict that the Boston Red Sox are also going to finish third in the regular season. I think they have them also finishing as a wild card team this year, along with the Baltimore Orioles. So, as I have the Orioles finishing fourth this year, I got the Red Sox finishing third this year. And then we make our ways over to the Miami Marlins, who are not projected to win or be in the wild card this year. They've added guys like Christopher Morel and Pete Fairbanks to their lineup. They lost Jorge Soriano to the Orioles on waivers and traded Joey Weimer to the Giants earlier this offseason. The Mariners entering spring training in today. They sit 6-8 as they get ready to take on the Washington Nationals today. Iruri Perez is on the mound for the Mariners. And the Mariners looking like this as a possible starting rotation. You got Sandy Alcazar, Edward Cabrera, Yuri Perez, Ryan Weathers, and Braxton Garrett. Pete Fairbanks is signed as their closer, with other guys like Tyler Phillips and Calvin Fotcher on the mound in the bullpen. And then we look down to what we have. We got guys like Joe Mack, Agasa Ramirez, Liam Hicks at catcher, Christopher Morel at first. We got Xavier Edwards at second, Connor Norby at third, Otto Lopez at short, Kyle Stowers in left, Jacob Marcy in center, Roberto Hernandez in right, and Agasa Ramirez doing the DH possibly. There's other guys, Maximo Acosta, Javier Soñajar, Griffin Conilla, and so on and so forth for the Marlins. Now, the Marlins schedule, they will open up against the Colorado Rockies before hosting the Chicago White Sox. They made their first road trip against the New York Yankees on a 3-game series before coming back home. They'll spend a lot of time at home in the month of April, and June, and May. They'll spend a lot of time on the road in August and September. They have a back-end schedule. Their road trips out to the West Coast has kind of been scattered. I see the one at the end of the year where they go over to Arizona and San Diego at the end of the year. And then at the end of April, they go out for the Giants and the Dodgers as well. So they will have themselves, and then they also come back out there at the end of June. So it's scattered throughout the year for the Mariners. I project that they're going to be finishing off in last place, actually maybe fourth place of the season. Lindsay Sports still has them finishing fourth in the NL East. They haven't made it to the postseason in a couple of years now. And so that's where they project them out. Let me know where you think the Red Sox and the Mariners are projected at here in the 2026 season. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, trying to tell you, oh, our team's bad. I mean, look, the Marlins, they may have themselves a streak going on, right? But realistically, when you got too much going on with the Mets, the Braves, and the Phillies up there at the top of the division, I feel like the Phillies are also playing that catch up as well. Not Phillies, but the Red Sox are playing the catch up as well in the East to stay alive. Alrighty, let's look at what the scores look like right now. Let's look at what happened yesterday. World Baseball Classic, Korea beat Australia. Dominican Republic beat Israel. Colombia beat Panama. And Great Britain beat Brazil. Puerto Rico beat Cuba. Venezuela beat Nicaragua. And United States beat Mexico. Congratulations to them. Today, the Classic Pool Play Game 9. Tonight on 7 p.m. and watch on the Fox app, you can see Israel take on Netherlands. Tonight as well on Tubi at 7 p.m. you can watch Canada take on Puerto Rico, and watch the United States take on Italy at 9 p.m. on FS1, and Czechia take on Japan that was already a final game from earlier today. Japan beat Czechia 9-0 is your final score. The Reds was in action yesterday as they took on the Athletics. They ended up losing to the Athletics 9-7. Something we'll talk about here heading into later of this week is the battles again, where we're looking at for starting lineup. But the Athletics put on 9 runs, 12 hits, 1 home run, 18 total bases, 3 stolen bases, and 9 men left off. The Reds scored up 7 runs, hit 12, had 12 hits, 2 home runs, 21 total bases, 1 stolen base, 13 left on base, and 2 errors in their loss. Heading into today's game on spring training action, let's pull that up real quick. The Redlegs are back at it again. They are taking on the Colorado Rockies. First pitch at 4:10 p.m. at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick in Scottsdale, Arizona. Brandon Williamson will be on the mound today. He's enters in with the 4.5 ERA and 6 strikeouts on his resume. Red starting lineup is given to you thanks to MLB.com/game day. Leading things off, the designated hitter, TJ Friedl. Batting second at second base, Sal Stewart. Batting third at shortstop, Ellie De La Cruz. Batting cleanup in right field, JJ Bleday. Will Benson will play left field, batting fifth. Batting sixth at first base is Nathaniel Lowe. Jose Trevino will do the catching, batting seventh. Reese Hines in center field, batting eighth. And PJ Higgins batting ninth in third base. The Reds lineup and pitching matchups are subject to change between now and the first start. The Reds enter in with a 7-8 record, while the Rockies enter this game with a 8-7 record. The Reds will continue spring training. We will not be here. I want to make that announcement utterly clear. We will not be here tomorrow. Have some meetings that came up this morning I have to attend to. Actually, matter of fact, no, I will take that wrong. We will be here on a special time, 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can come check us out on our TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel or on our Facebook. We will recap Raw. We have some sports conversations for you. We will also talk about Major League Baseball and the Cincinnati Reds, as tomorrow we will look at the New York Yankees and the New York Mets coming up in a look of the regular season in our prediction. So if you guys are wanting to watch us early, we want to just invite you over to come watch us a little sooner. But yeah, man, it's, there's a lot of things going on. It's fun. It's a fun week. Tomorrow, I'd like to talk about some stories about the roster battles, how they have been going, especially since some are injured, and what we can look forward to. I also have some stories about what storylines, again, are working, what's not working, how's WrestleMania 42 shaped out, where do people need to focus on. We will cover a little bit about that tomorrow, but this is going to wrap up our show. So we want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you guys are watching us on our Facebook or YouTube page, want to thank you. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe this to a friend. Let someone know, hey, we're on, we're live, and we're talking sports. Get involved with the chat. I want to be able to chat with you sports and let me know what you guys are thinking. Also, while you're at it, please follow us. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Be sure to stay up to date with everything that we talk about and post, as we want to engage with you as the audience. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe on our TNC Sports Talk YouTube page. Have those notifications on so you don't miss a single episode. I'll have a couple of baseball games uploaded immediately following this show so we could get caught up to date on that. Also, if you guys need to listen to us on our audio platforms, we're on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and more. Be sure to follow us. You can take us on the road, at the gym, at home, at the office, wherever you get your podcast needs at. Be sure to tune in to us and follow us on a daily basis. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. We will be back 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Thank you guys for tuning in to the TNC Sports Talk. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.